Hello everyone, I am Datu as Angkay II, and this is another continuation, and for today's video we will be discussing the rule number 9, rule number 10, rule number 11, and rule number 12. Let's start with the rule number 9, which is the dead ball or ball in play. Section 1 is the ball is dead. So ito yung mga rason kung bakit ang bola is dead or not in play in the following circumstances. Ito lang yung mga iilan sa mga dahilan. First is when the ball is batted illegally. So yun yung first reason. Second is when the batter steps from one box to another when the pitcher is FP only taking the signal or appears to be taking the signal from the pitcher's plate or SP only steps on the pitching plate. Another reason is kung no pitch is declared. Another is when a pitch ball touches any part of the batter's person or clothing, whether the ball is struck at or not. Another example or another reason is when a foul fly ball is not caught. And another is when the offensive team causes interferences. There's a lot of reason, but I will discuss few that is very informative. Section 2 is the ball is in play. So, ito yung mga rason where the ball is in play in the following circumstances. First is, at the start of the game or simula pa lang ng laro, and each half inning, when the pitcher has the ball while standing in his pitching position and the plate umpire has called play ball. Another is when the infield fly rule is in force. Another, when a thrown ball goes past a fielder and remains in playable territory. So, nasa playable territory lang siya. Another one is when a fair ball strikes an umpire or runner on fair ground after first passing a fielder, excluding the pitcher and no other fielder had a chance to make an out or touching a fielder including the pitcher. Another is kung yung fair ball strikes an umpire on foul ground. Another is when the runners have reached the bases to which they are entitled after the fielder illegally fielded a batted, thrown, or pitched ball. So, there's a lot of reasons, but I will discuss with you the most important or the most knowledgeable one. Another is when runner is called out for passing a preceding runner, exemption, but there's an exemption. When a runner is called out for passing a preceding runner while the ball is dead, the ball will remain dead. Section 3, delayed dead ball. There are 5 situations, so merong 5. When a violation of the rule occurs, an umpire recognizes it and the ball remains live until the conclusion of the play. These situations are, ito yung mga 5. First, an illegal pitch. Second, catcher's obstruction. Pangatlo, FP only or plate umpire interference. Pang-apat, obstruction. And lastly, the touch equipment contacting a thrown ball, a pitch ball, or a fair batted ball. Next is the Rule 10 or umpires. Section 1, power and duties. So, yung umpire, sila yung mga representative of the leagues or organization by which they have been assigned to particular games and as such are authorized and required to enforce each section of these rules. They have the power to order a player, coach, captain, or manager to do or omit to do any act which, in their judgment, is necessary to give an effect to one or all of these rules and to inflict penalties as herein prescribed. So, sila yung mga responsible sa mga decision making and also sa mga rules and regulations during the game. Section 2, the plate umpire shall take a position in back of the catcher. He shall have full charge and responsible for the proper conduct of the game. So responsible siya for the proper conduct of the game. Shall call all balls and strikes. And shall, by agreement and in cooperation with the base umpire, call plays, hit balls, fair or foul, legal or illegal caught balls, on plays that would necessitate the base umpire leaving the infield. The plate umpire shall assume the duties normally required of the base umpire. Section 3. The base umpire shall take such position on the playing field as required in accordance with the relevant umpire system. Shall assist the plate umpire in every way to enforce the rules of the game. Section 4. Responsibilities of a single umpire. If only one umpire is assigned, his duties and jurisdiction shall extend to all points. The umpire's starting position for each pitch shall be from behind home plate. On each batted ball or play that develops, the umpire shall move out from behind the plate and into the field to obtain the best position for any play that develops. Section 5. Changes of umpires. Umpires cannot be changed during a game by the consent of the opposing teams unless an umpire is incapacitated by injury or illnesses. So pwede siya mapalitan kapag incapacitated siya ng injury or illnesses. Section 6. Umpire's judgment. There shall be no appeal from any decisions of any umpire on the grounds that he was not correct in his conclusion as to whether a batted ball was fair or foul, a runner safe or out, a pitch ball, a strike or ball, or on any play involving accuracy of judgment. No decision rendered by any umpire shall be reversed, except that he be convinced it is in violation of one of these rules. Section 7. Signals. To indicate that play shall begin or be resumed, kung magsisimula or magbabalik na, the umpire shall call play ball and at the same time motion the pitcher to deliver the ball. Signal is very important. Section 8. Suspension of play. An umpire may suspend play when, in his judgment, conditions justify such action. Play shall be suspended whenever the plate umpire leave his position to brush the plate or to perform other duties not directly connected with the calling of plays. The umpire shall suspend play whenever a batter or pitcher or steps out of position for a legitimate reason. Presented on the screen the Rule 11 or the protests. Section 1. Protest that will not be received. Protests shall not be received or considered if they are based solely on decision involving the accuracy of judgment on the part of an umpire or if the team lodging the protest won the game. Example of the protests that will not be considered are whether a batted ball was fair or foul, whether a runner was safe or out, whether a pitch ball was a strike or a ball, whether a pitch was legal or illegal, whether a runner did or did not touch a base, whether a runner left the base too soon on a caught fly ball, whether a fly ball was or was not caught legally, whether it was or was not an infield fly, whether there was or was not an interference, whether there was or was not an obstruction, whether a player, a live ball, did or did not enter a dead ball area or touch some object or person in dead ball area. Section 2. Protests that will be received. Protests that shall be received and considered include matters of the following types. A. Misinterpretation of playing rule. B. Failure of an umpire to apply the correct rule to a given situation. C. Failure to impose the correct penalty for given violation. Section 3. Protest involving judgment and interpretation of rule. Protest may involve both a matter of judgment and the interpretations of the rule. An example of a situation of this type follows. When one out and the runners on second and third bases, the batter fielded out. The runner on the third tagged up after the catch. The player on the second did not. The runner on the third crossed the plate before the ball was played at second base for the third out. The umpire did not allow the run to score. The questions as to whether the runners left their bases before the catch and whether play at the second was made before the player on the third crossed the plate are solely matters of judgment and are not protestable. The failure of the umpire to allow the run to score was misinterpretation of a playing rule and was proper subject for protest. Section 4. Notification of the intent to lodge a protest. The notification of the intent to protest must be made immediately before the next pitch. Player ineligibility. The manager or acting manager of the protesting team shall immediately notify the plate umpire that the game is being continued under protest. All interested parties shall take notice of the conditions surrounding the making of the decision that will aid in the correct determination of the issue. Note: on the appeal place, the appeal must made before the next pitch, legal or illegal, or before defensive teams has left the field. For the purpose of this rule, the defensive team has left the field when the pitcher and all players have left their territory on the way to the bench or dugout area. Section 5. Time to lodge an official protest. The official written protest must be filed within a reasonable time. In the absence of the league or tournament rule fixing the time limit for filing a protest should be considered if filed within a reasonable time, depending upon the nature of the case and the difficulty of obtaining the information on which to base the protest. Within 48 hours after the scheduled time of the contest is generally considered as reasonable time. Section 6. Information required for written protest. The formal written protest should contain the following information: A. The date, time, and place of the game. B. The names of the umpires and scorers. C. The rule and section of the official rules or local rules under which the protest is made. D. The decision and conditions surrounding the making of this decision. E. All essential facts involved in the matter protest. Section 7. Results of protest. The decision made on protest game must result in one of the following. A. Protest is found invalid and the game score stands as played. B. When a protest is allowed for misinterpretation of a playing rule, the game is replayed from the point at which the incorrect decision was made, with the decision corrected. C. When the protest for ineligibility of the team roster members is allowed, the game shall be forfeited by the offending team. Presenting on the screen is the Rule 12 scoring. Section 1. The official scorer shall keep records of each game as outlined in the following rules, shall have the sole authority to make all decisions involving judgment. For example, it is the scorer's responsibility to determine whether a batter's advance to first base is a result of the hit or an error. However, a scorer shall not make a decision which conflicts with the official playing rules or with an umpire's decision. Section 2. The box score. Each player's name and the position or positions to be played shall be listed in the order in which he batted or would have batted, unless the player is legally substituted, ejected, or removed from the game, or the game ends before his turn at the bat. Section 3. Base hits shall not be recorded. A base hit shall not be scored in the following cases. A. When a runner is forced out by a batted ball or would have been forced out except for a fielding error. B. When a player fielding a batted ball retires a preceding runner with ordinary effort. C. When a fielder fails in an attempt to retire a preceding runner and in the scorer's judgment, the batter runner could have been retired at first base. Section 4. Sacrifice fly balls. A sacrifice fly is scored when, with less than 2 outs, A. The batter score a runner with a fly ball which is caught, or the ball or the line drive handled by an outfielder or an infielder running in the outfield is dropped and runner across, and in the scorer's judgment, and the runner could have scored after the catch had the fly ball been caught. Section 5. The runs and batted in. A run batted in is a run scored because of the following reasons. A. A safe hit. B. A sacrifice bunt or slap hit. C. A foul fly caught. D. An infield put out or fielder's choice. E. A runner forced home because of obstruction. F. Home run and all runs scored as a result. Section 6. Pitcher credited with a win. A pitcher shall be credited with a win in the following situations. A. When he is the starting pitcher and has pitched at least 4 innings and his team was not only in the lead when he is replaced but remains in the lead for the remainder of the game. When a game is ended after 5 innings of play and the starting pitcher has pitched at least 3 innings and his team scores more runs than other team when the game is terminated. Section 7. Pitcher charged with a loss. A pitcher shall be charged with a loss regardless of the number of the innings he has pitched if he is replaced when his team is behind in the scores and his team thereafter fails to tie the score or gain the lead. Section 8. Game summary. The summary shall list the following items in this order. A. The score by innings and the final score. B. The runs batted in and by whom hit. C. 2 base hits and by whom hit. D. 3 base hits and by whom hit. E. Home runs and by whom hit. F. Sacrifice flies and by whom hit. G. Double plays and players participating in them. H. Triple plays and players participating in them. I. Number of walks given by each pitcher. J. Number of batters struck out by each pitcher. K. Number of hits and runs allowed by each pitcher. L. The name of the winning pitcher. M. The name of the losing pitcher. N. The time of the game. O. The name of the umpire and scorer. P. FP only, stolen bases and by whom. Q. FP only, sacrifice bunts. R. FP only, the names of batters hit by the pitch ball and the pitcher who hit them. S. FP only, the number of wild pitched and made by each pitcher. T. FP only, the number of pass balls made by each catcher. Thank you for watching this video. Stay safe and God bless.